Ed Markey says it could fund every community health center in America for 26 years. Maybe, but if they weren't run by the government, they wouldn't need funding at all. Yeah, okay, I'll take your clapping. But, just click your heels 3 times, make a wish, and poof, all the problems that they made worse will go away. But the truth is, these brats have no clue. Asking them to run an economy is like asking Cat to spot you on the bench press. It'll all come crashing down. These dopes picture Elon diving into a vat of gold coins like Scrooge McDuck. But Elon doesn't just have hundreds of billions lying around. An estimated $800 billion of his fortune is tied up in SpaceX alone. It's not cash, it's capital for building rockets, cars, satellites. All the stuff Dems think appear from a magic lamp. And even if he decided ever to cash out, his companies would collapse and ruin hundreds of thousands of lives. So his company runs not to his benefit, but to theirs. He can't take the money and run. Where could he go? He doesn't own a home. Meanwhile, the lefty lecturers sit on their own fat stacks. Ro Khanna is worth a fortune, but that's because his wife's father made millions in auto parts. No wonder he doesn't get it. He thinks money comes from saying, I do. Bernie's made millions peddling books about how evil capitalism is. Liz Warren's ended up with several millions herself. I suppose we should ask, how? Wasn't from her bogus recipes in Native American cookbooks. We all know you can't cook a whole buffalo in a microwave. But Dems have always been too lazy to learn economics. They prefer the soft sciences, like puppy pronouns and is my cat racist? Elon's companies have pumped $300 billion into the economy through wages, procurements, and taxes. Meanwhile, AOC blocked Amazon from bringing 40,000 jobs to NYC. That's one way to prevent more millionaires, keep everyone poor. Still, these clowns treat him like a Nazi hoarding treasure. Yet, thanks to them, the government has burned through trillions, and they can't even cure whatever it is I picked up at the Lilith Fair in 1998. Meanwhile, Elon's new IPO just created 4,000 millionaires and 400 millionaires. He's built 800,000 good-paying jobs. SpaceX is helping NASA send us to the moon, then to Mars. He developed brain chips so the paralyzed live their lives again. And no, Joy, they don't come in barbecue flavored. Tesla makes cars and now robots that will handle all the jobs humans can't stand, like having sex with Hassan Piker. He saved free speech on X after your buddies blacklisted us. His boring company digs tunnels to end a drain on all of our lives, which is traffic. The fact is, Elon's got more successful companies than he has kids. And unlike kids, he didn't have to screw anybody to get them. Despite being called a fascist, a racist, Elon proved all these leeches dead wrong, which isn't hard. If you put them in charge of a lemonade stand, the lemons would go on strike. Let's welcome tonight's guest. In high school, his imaginary girlfriend wanted to see other people. Comedian Joe Mackey. She's definitely the hottest former deputy presidential special envoy to the Middle East, Morgan Ortagus. His favorite words after sex are, "What's your Venmo?" Comedian Dave Landau. And we call her the Iron Lady, but she has no idea how to iron. New York Times bestselling author, Fox News contributor, Kat. Beck, I admire you. You have no money at all. You have no property. You have nothing to your name. You're pretty much down and out.
I work for you, Greg.
And I appreciate that. And sometimes I think I'm overpaying you. But you do not possess an element of envy, which is what the Democrat Party seems to be basing everything on. They always have, but now it seems to be getting worse. How dumb are they when it comes to Elon's wealth?
Extremely dumb, Greg, because they think that Elon stole that trillion from someone.
Yeah.
He didn't steal it from anyone. He created it by creating a market that didn't exist before. He created a market for electric cars by making them viable. He created PayPal, which was a better way to pay for stuff online without having your credit card information stolen. He created the spaceship market, which has now created other markets like the satellite Starlink internet service. That's why when they give you these false binary choices, it's just propaganda because it's not really, he didn't take anything away from someone to make that product. So these false binary choices are just to make you dislike him. And it's always a ridiculous premise like, oh, we had to spend $1 billion on spaceships instead of giving three-legged dogs a leg transplant. It's just not. I'm sorry. You guys didn't like that one. Three-legged cats leg transplants.
Glad you made that switch. Morgan, I find that in this story, it tells another story that we cannot. The reason why we can't have debates on taxes or things like minimum wage, just basic things like that, is because of what Joe points out, a fundamental misunderstanding of basic economic principles. This is why they just look at you like you're a monster when you're explaining them free markets.
Well, and so many of us were here in New York in 2008 during the financial crisis, and the biggest criticism then was that everybody was getting their wealth from these financial schemes from Wall Street. And we kept saying at the time, what are we building in America? Well, now you have somebody who is an immigrant to the United States, who's doing something, as Joe just pointed out, that is amazing, that is breaking records around the world. And I spent the last year working for President Trump, traveling around the world. I can tell you that everywhere in the world, the United States of America, our ingenuity, our creativity, the spirit of having no limits here is what everybody wants. This is where they want to be. We should be proud of it. And instead, what the Democratic Party is trying to do is to turn us into everybody else. I still think we're that shining city on the hill that Reagan talked about, and I think Elon Musk is proof of that.
All right. Well, that was very positive, Morgan.
I'm trying.
I think I'll let you stick around for the next block.
Yeah.
That was a joke. Dave, it is kind of it's kind of infuriating that you have politicians looking at a private citizen and saying, we think you should spend your money this way, and also, we're just going to take it.
Well, of course they want to take it. They want to see how quickly they can waste it or give it to Somali refugees.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad. They've blown trillions of dollars, and they want to see if they can do it. And it's just they want to go after him. Nobody's ever been able to do this before. Take it as far as they can, and he's been able to do it as a white African-American Nazi with 27 children to pay child support to.
Yeah.
And they want us to have clean everything, and he's the guy that created a market for that. But they say buy from anybody but him. He's the only one selling it. But you're carving swastikas into the cars, which is crazy. They're electric, and Nazis used gas.
You know, I'm going to leave.
It's historically accurate.
It's not a lie. But you bring up a good point. You know, Kat, how can we trust these people who loved Elon 1 minute and then tried to destroy his dealerships and his cars? Don't they? Also, here's another question, because I forgot to ask. I feel like these people realize that their ignorance is a protection. Like, if they don't know how things work, then they can't be proven wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's easy to be like, oh, he has $1 trillion and that's not fair. And that's, I guess, one way to look at stuff. But people in the government specifically saying it drives me nuts.
Yes.
Because let's say, okay, obviously $1 trillion would be nice to give some of that to people who need it. The government is not the people who need it.
Yeah.
The government, look at what they do with the money that we already give them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's just the biggest racket that if you don't want to give your money to the government or be forced to give your money by the government, then you don't care about XYZ social problem. When really it's just that you know enough to know that the government's track record of solving XYZ, whatever problem it is not good.
Right.
It just ends up getting wasted, and the money has to go here, money has to go there, money has to go there. People have to get paid, and it's all corrupt, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So it's just really, really rich, because the reason that I don't have more money isn't Elon Musk having $1 trillion. That's not the reason that anybody doesn't have. That's
the reason is the government.
The government.
Yes. They tax the out of you.
is
Yeah.
No.
there is.
You want to talk about a finite pie?
Yes, there is one entity in this whole story that we're talking about right now that has taken money from you forcibly, and it's not Elon Musk.
Yeah.
What's so crazy is it's stupid and it's wrong, and anyone who's paying attention realizes that giving money to the government does not equal solving a problem. But it's so widely accepted by so many people that is the case.
And also, I mean, we got to move on, but it is unbelievable to me that when somebody says they're a trillionaire, they think there's a trillion. He has $1 trillion.
He says $1 trillion like of cash in a garage.
It's like these are your leaders. These are these are people in the media saying this stuff. It's insane. That is like you learn in 6th grade that that's not true. Or in your case.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.